The crystal wine glasses clinked against bone china plates at my parents' weekly Sunday dinner, a tradition that felt more like a performance art piece than a family gathering. My sister Victoria, dressed in what was undoubtedly this season's latest designer wear, was holding court about her recent promotion at Goldman Sachs. "So then the senior partner personally selected me to lead the merger team," she announced, preening under our parents' adoring gazes. "The biggest deal of the quarter." "That's our girl," Dad beamed, adjusting his Rolex, his favorite prop for Success Theater. "Following in my footsteps just like I always knew you would." I pushed my untouched salmon around my plate, wondering if they'd notice if I checked my phone. The final negotiations for my company's acquisition were happening right now in Silicon Valley, but heaven forbid anyone interrupt Victoria's moment. "And what about you, Alexandra?" Mom turned to me with that particular smile she reserved for disappointments. "Still working on what do you call it? Your little website. E-commerce platform," I corrected quietly, thinking about the server farms across 3 continents that powered what they dismissed as a little website. "We're doing okay." Victoria laughed, the sound sharp as cut glass. "Okay? Is that why you're still wearing last year's Zara? Come on, Lex, it's time to grow up. I could get you an interview at Goldman. Entry level, of course, but at least it's real business." My phone vibrated silently in my lap. A message from my COO. "Google's legal team has signed. Twitter's bid topped. Deal closing in final phase." "Actually," I started, but Mom cut me off. "Oh. Did you see Victoria's profile in Business Weekly? 3rd page, full spread. Rising stars under 35. We bought 10 copies." Dad reached for the magazine on the sideboard, proudly displaying Victoria's carefully posed photo. "This is what success looks like, Alexandra. Not some online shop selling. What is it you sell again?" "We're a global marketplace platform," I said, but they weren't listening. My phone buzzed again. Bloomberg reporter requesting comment on acquisition. Holding them off until announcement. Victoria sipped her wine, examining me over the rim. "You know, my assistant uses sites like yours to sell her handmade jewelry. Such a cute hobby." I thought about the millions of transactions processed through my platform every hour, the thousands of employees across the globe, the technological infrastructure that had revolutionized peer-to-peer commerce. "But sure, let's call it a hobby." Speaking of real business, Dad interjected, "Victoria's team is handling the Goldman side of that huge tech acquisition everyone's talking about." "What was it, sweetheart?" $5 billion. I nearly choked on my water. They had no idea they were talking about my company. "Can't discuss details, Daddy," Victoria winked. "But let's just say it's going to be the talk of Wall Street. Some Silicon Valley startup that's apparently worth billions. Though I can't imagine how any website could be worth that much." My phone lit up again. Final papers ready. Bloomberg exclusive in 10 minutes. "Alexandra," Mom sighed, "I wish you'd let your father help you find a proper position. You're not getting any younger, and these internet things, they're so unstable." "Actually, Mom, my company is quite stable. We just passed 100 million active users last month." "Users?" Victoria scoffed. "What about profits? Real businesses measure success in dollars, not clicks or likes or whatever you internet people track." I thought about the profit figures in the acquisition documents, numbers that would make even Goldman Sachs partners catch their breath. But I stayed quiet, watching the elegant clock on the wall tick closer to announcement time. "Remember when you turned down that junior analyst position I arranged?" Dad shook his head. "Could have been on Victoria's team by now, making real money instead of playing shop online." My phone buzzed continuously now. The deal was done. Papers signed. In exactly 3 minutes, Bloomberg would announce the largest tech acquisition of the year. "It's not too late," Victoria offered with fake generosity. "I could still put in a word. Though you'd have to start at the bottom, obviously. Can't expect to walk into Goldman with just, 'What do you actually do all day?'" I checked my watch. "Why don't you turn on Bloomberg? I think they're about to show you exactly what I do all day." "Business news at dinner?" Mom frowned. "Really, Alexandra, your manners." But Dad was already reaching for the remote, never one to miss market updates. The massive TV screen on the dining room wall flickered to life, just in time for the breaking news alert. The Bloomberg ticker scrolled across the bottom of the screen, and for the first time in years, my family fell completely silent. I took a sip of wine, savoring the moment as the announcer's voice filled the room. Breaking news. In what's being called the largest tech acquisition of the year. Sometimes success doesn't need to be announced. Sometimes it announces itself with perfect timing and a billion-dollar price tag. Victoria's fork clattered against her plate as her own client's name appeared on screen, followed by mine. The Bloomberg anchor's voice continued, crisp and professional. Silicon Valley giant TechSphere has acquired global share platform for $5.2 billion in cash and stock, marking the largest e-commerce acquisition of the decade. Global Share's founder and CEO Alexandra Chin. My face appeared on the massive screen, a photo from last month's Forbes interview that I hadn't mentioned to my family. In it, I stood against the backdrop of our headquarters, wearing the same last year's Zara outfit I had on now. That's impossible, Victoria whispered, her perfectly manicured hand trembling as she reached for her wine glass. That's not. Not what? I asked quietly. Not a real business. Dad's face had gone pale, his Rolex glinting as he gripped the remote control. The TV continued its coverage, now showing graphics of Global Share's growth over the past 5 years. With over 100 million active users and a revolutionary AI-driven marketplace algorithm, Global Share has transformed the e-commerce landscape, the anchor explained. Sources say Goldman Sachs represented TechSphere in the negotiations. Ideal, Victoria breathed, realization dawning. This is my deal. I've been working on this for months. The mysterious Silicon Valley startup. He stared at me as if seeing me for the first time. It's yours. My phone was practically dancing across the table now, notifications pouring in. I picked it up, scrolling through messages from my executive team, board members, and yes, Victoria's bosses at Goldman Sachs. Would you like to know why Goldman never realized they were negotiating with their star employee's sister? Asked my voice calm. Because in all the years I've been building this company, none of you ever actually asked what I was doing. Mom's hand flew to her throat, clutching her pearls, her standard response to shocking news. But you work from home. In casual clothes. You never mentioned. I work from our headquarters in Silicon Valley, I corrected her. The home office you've mocked is just my New York satellite setup for when I visit you. As for the casual clothes, I smoothed my blazer. When you're worth billions, you don't need designer labels to prove your success. The TV switched to live footage outside Global Share's headquarters, where reporters were gathering. My COO, Sarah, was handling the press conference exactly as we'd planned. Your website, Dad said slowly, the word website suddenly sounding very different in his mouth. Processes how much in transactions? I pulled up our real-time dashboard on my phone. Would you like to see? We're actually having a pretty slow day. Only about $50 million in the last hour. Victoria grabbed her laptop from her designer bag, frantically typing. Her face went even paler as she pulled up Global Share's financials, the ones her team had been studying for months. The proprietary algorithm, she whispered. The AI infrastructure. The global market penetration. That was all you. Remember when you said real businesses measure success in dollars? I smiled slightly. How about we measure it in billions? My phone rang, Victoria's managing partner at Goldman. I put it on speaker, enjoying the way my sister's eyes widened as her boss's voice filled the dining room. Alexandra. Brilliant strategy keeping this under wraps. Listen, we should discuss your future plans. Perhaps over dinner? Your sister tells us such wonderful things about you. Victoria choked on her wine. I caught her eye as I replied, actually, I'm at a family dinner right now. With Victoria. Would you like to say hello? The silence that followed was delicious. Oh, yes of course, her boss stumbled. Victoria's there? Excellent. Victoria, why didn't you tell us about your sister's company? This connection could have been invaluable during negotiations. Now it was my turn to watch Victoria squirm. I never. She's been very focused on her own career. I interjected smoothly. But let's talk tomorrow. My team will set something up. After I hung up, the dining room fell into heavy silence, broken only by the continuing Bloomberg coverage. The salmon had gone cold, the expensive wine forgotten. $5 billion, Dad finally said, as if testing how the words felt in his mouth. 5.2, I corrected. Plus performance incentives and stock options. Would you like to see the contract? Victoria's team did a thorough job with the paperwork, even if they never knew who they were really dealing with. Mom was still clutching her pearls, her social programming frantically trying to recalibrate. But all those times we tried to help you find a real job. I had a real job, Mom. I was building an empire. You just couldn't see it because it didn't fit your definition of success. The Bloomberg ticker continued its relentless scroll. Global share stock soars on acquisition news. TechSphere shares up 12%. Market analysts predict industry-wide impact. Victoria's phone started ringing. Colleagues, clients, probably journalists seeking insider comments on the deal. She stared at it helplessly, her carefully constructed world of corporate hierarchy crumbling around her designer heels. You'll want to be careful what you say to the press, I advised, pulling up a document on my phone. Here's the approved statement for Goldman representatives. Your PR team should have it by now. You're giving me talking points? Victoria's voice cracked. Me? I'm the one who... I always... Always what? I asked softly. Always knew better, always succeeded more, always had the real job. Dad cleared his throat, his businessman's instincts finally kicking in. Now, Alexandra, let's not be hasty. Family is family. Perhaps we could discuss how this new development might benefit all of us. I raised an eyebrow. Benefit? Like the benefits you offered when you thought I was failing? Those kinds of benefits. The TV switched to an interview with TechSphere's CEO. Global shares technology is revolutionary, he was saying. Alexandra Chen's vision for the future of e-commerce aligns perfectly with our long-term strategy. Alexandra Chen, Mom repeated as if trying to recognize her daughter in those words. They're talking about you like I'm successful? I finished for her. Like I'm a business leader? Like I'm everything you spent years telling me I wasn't. My phone buzzed again, this time with a message that made me smile. Excuse me, I said, standing up. My helicopter is waiting on the roof. Some of us have actual work to do. Helicopter. Dad's eyes widened. You have a private aviation fleet, I nodded. Much more efficient than commercial flights. Speaking of which, I turned to Victoria. You might want to update your resume. Word is Goldman's facing some restructuring, particularly in departments that failed to identify key market players during negotiations. Victoria's face went from pale to ashen. You wouldn't. I wouldn't what? Make business decisions based on performance metrics? Isn't that what real businesses do? The Bloomberg ticker updated again. Global share founder Alexandra Chen named to TechSphere's board of directors. Youngest board member in company history. But Sunday dinners, Mom protested weakly. Family traditions. I checked my watch. A simple Timex that probably cost less than Victoria's lunch. About those traditions, I'm afraid my schedule's going to be quite full. Board meetings, strategic planning, the usual CEO responsibilities. You understand, don't you? After all, you always taught me to prioritize real business. Standing up, I smoothed my blazer and picked up my phone. The acquisition press packet should be in your inbox, Victoria. Do you try to keep up with the talking points? Oh, and Dad. I turned to him. About that junior analyst position you offered years ago? I'm afraid that department's being eliminated in the restructuring. The sound of helicopter blades became audible above us. My family stared up at the ceiling, then back at me as if finally seeing the distance between their assumptions and reality. One last thing, I said, pausing at the dining room door. Mom, you might want to update your social media. My daughter, the tech billionaire, has a better ring to it than my daughter, the one with the little website, don't you think? As I walked out, I heard Victoria's phone ring again. Probably her boss wondering how she'd missed the fact that her own sister was the mysterious CEO they'd been negotiating with for months. The helicopter waited on the rooftop, its blades cutting through the evening air. Sarah, my CEO, stood by the door. How did they take it? She asked as we climbed aboard. I looked back at the penthouse window where my family stood watching, their faces a mixture of shock, regret, and dawning realization. About as well as people who measure success in designer labels and country club memberships could take discovering they've been wrong for years, I replied. The Goldman partners are having fits, Sarah grinned, handing me a tablet with incoming messages. Apparently, someone should have Googled the CEO they were negotiating with. Victoria always said thoroughness was her strong suit, I mused. Guess she missed that detail in her due diligence. As the helicopter lifted off, I watched my family's building shrink below us. The city spread out like a circuit board of lights and possibilities I'd seen while they were busy measuring success by their narrow standards. My phone buzzed one last time. A message from Victoria. Lex, I'm sorry. I never knew. I typed back a simple response. That's the problem. You never asked. The helicopter banked towards Silicon Valley, where reporters, investors, and a new chapter waited. Below us, Bloomberg's Times Square billboard flashed the news of the acquisition, visible even from this height. Sometimes success isn't about proving others wrong. Sometimes it's about proving yourself right so definitively that no explanation is needed. They had laughed at my small business over dinner. Now they were watching it transform their entire industry. And this was just the beginning. Sarah, I called over the helicopter's hum, what's our user growth projection for next quarter? He grinned. After this announcement, sky's the limit. I looked down at the city where I'd once been dismissed as a failure. No, I corrected her, sky's just the starting point. Because success isn't measured in family approval or Sunday dinner invitations. It's measured in vision, determination, and the quiet satisfaction of letting results speak louder than words. They called it a tiny online shop. I'd built an empire. And now, finally, they could see the difference. The helicopter disappeared into the night, leaving behind a family realizing too late that success doesn't always wear designer labels or come with a Goldman Sachs business card. Sometimes it comes in Zara, carries a Timex, and changes the world without saying a word.